UFC show in Minneapolis will be exceptional. Again, no post show because AEW is running an event that night. So I'll be doing the AEW post show. So me and Joe will be here talking about it on Tuesday. Let's talk about some of these fights, Joe. Junior Albini, my boy, trying to get his kids some more shampoo bottles, a -105. Maurice Green, a -115. You also have Emily Whitmire, a -170. Amanda Rebus, a +150. The Justin Ledet fight just got pulled. So you got Jared Gordon, a -360. Dan Moret, a +300. Jordan Griffin, a -360. Vince Murdoch, a +300. Journey Newsom. What a name. +265. Ricardo Ramos, a -325. Alonzo Minifield, -320. Paul Craig, some +260. We got some pretty wide lines there. And Junior Albini's at the point, Joe, where I don't even give him his own fight breakdown. I group him in with the guys that casuals don't know.
Yeah, Albini, it just depends on what kind of tire he shows up in. If he wears the diaper, he wins.
Hawkeye is claiming that Minneapolis' show is sold out, which that would be shocking to me.
Yeah, it should be sold out. I mean, what venue are they holding it at?
I'll have to look, but you can still get tickets on StubHub. My God,
It's at the Target Center.
Yeah, you can get tickets on StubHub without a doubt. Any thoughts on these lines that we have? There's some pretty wide lines, man.
In terms of value, Paul Craig at +260 could be value, right? I mean, I think Ramos is going to destroy Newsom. Ramos he's pretty damn good. Eric Anders against Moreira, you might get some value out of Vinicius, but it's you look at some of the stuff. Maybe you can get value even on the -105 for Junior Albini, who's technically the underdog at a -115 for Maurice Green. So at heavyweight, when you're getting that, maybe that is value. I mean, it's almost, you're not doubling your money, but close enough, right?
Yeah, to our friend Hawkeye in the chat, there are tickets all over StubHub right now for under $100. Elsewhere on this show, Eric Anders, a -350, a gigantic favorite over Moreira, a +290. Does that surprise you considering some of the hiccups that Eric Anders has had of late?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to mention that. I know you skipped over it. My bad.
It's okay.
It's a little surprising, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe at -250 or -190 for Eric Anders, but that's not. You might get some value in Moreira here. I mean, I'd be paying close attention. I'm sure at the end of the show we got about less than 20 minutes ago. We'll listen to Sean's. I got 5 on it, but that might be one that you'll hear in Sean because I like Anders. He should win this fight. Technically speaking, he should win this fight, but as Sean mentioned, hiccups.
And worth noting, I don't believe the man has ever won a light heavyweight fight. He's lost 3 in a row. He's lost 4 out of his last 5. So putting him at that line, that's a little tough for me. Now I know that Moreira got just washed by Minifield, but he's got some submission skills, and I don't think that can be understated. I'd probably throw 5 on it right there. Speaking of Minifield, a -320 over Paul Craig. I think that line is about right. But then you got guys like Drew Dober, a -350 over Marco Polo Reyes, a +290. Roosevelt Roberts, a -250. Vince Pichel, a +210. Roosevelt Roberts, a guy that UFC thinks a lot of. Drew Dober, heavily favored here. Does anything stand out to you among these 2 fights, Joe?
Yeah, I think Dober shouldn't be at -350. I mean, I could be wrong. Bring that one down in the 250s, maybe 210. I think there's value on Marco Polo Reyes. Vince Pichel's getting no love.
None.
Like, this dude, he's been around, but he doesn't go away when he fights. Like he's tough as nails. Pay close attention to that. Take nothing away from Roosevelt Roberts, but pay attention to that fight, kids. Trust me, pay attention because Vince is tougher than most people are giving him credit for.
And Drew Dober was on a real hot streak, I thought, for a couple years until he ran into Beneil Dariush, and Beneil Dariush needed that win. But Polo Reyes is kind of inconsistent. but he's been around for a while. He's got the ability to beat a guy like Drew Dober. Drew Dober is always just so hit or miss for me because I remember how he came into the UFC, and I remember he had lost some pretty. I mean, he lost his way out of TUF, I think, season 15 too. So my first few exposures to Drew Dober were him losing his first 2 fights in the UFC, lost on TUF. There was the Leandro Silva fight that was a no contest. I think he had 1 win in his first 4 fights. Then he had a bunch of fights canceled. So to see him consistently get in the cage is just still so different for me, even 2 or 3 years in. So we'll see how that goes. Roosevelt Roberts, man, they think a lot of him. He's got that unique body type that really helps him stand out. I do think that he's going to win that fight. This fight. Joseph Benavidez and Formiga, they got to be disappointed. We'll talk about, we might as well talk about it now. Henry Cejudo out until 2020, it looks like. What do you do if you're the winner here? Joseph Benavidez, a -170, Formiga, a +150. I'm going Benavidez here, but it's a bummer of a situation, Joe.
Okay, first things first. I can't even figure out who I want to win. Not who I want, who I think will win this fight. Benavidez the favorite, Formiga the underdog. Did you say Benavidez? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I will go with Formiga. I'll take Formiga this fight here. But in terms of
who was it you took opposite last week? Was it Korean Zombie or Lovato? It was one of them. You took just to be difficult.
I took Korean Zombie no matter what. I think I took Lovato just to go against you. Yeah. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't get. I mean, Cejudo is now out till apparently out till 2020 with 2 belts. This is the UFC's worst nightmares. This is the reason why Dana back in the day said nobody will ever fight for 2 belts unless it's a big, big fight like BJ Penn, George St. Pierre. Well, look what happened with Conor McGregor. Look what happens now with Cejudo. Look what happens with half these guys that are it's just crazy. It's crazy. So the question you asked was, what do you do if you're Benavidez or Formiga? Life sucks, man. You got to fight your tail off for something that's not even going to be worth something probably, in 3 months from now. And this guy's out for a while, all right? It's craziness.
Well, the only positive to Cejudo being out is he ain't getting one of those 3 fights that he was clamoring for. That's not happening. He's not going to get one of those. Because could you imagine them booking people who hadn't won since 2016 in 2020? That's weird. I would honestly throw Formiga and Benavidez, or whoever wins that fight. I would have them fight the winner of maybe Marias and Jan at 135 in the interim and do that. And then, hey, let it work itself out. The UFC doesn't like to do that, though. If Benavidez beats Jan or Sterling and he wants a 125 title shot, give him that. If he wants a 135 title shot, give him that. I think that Joseph Benavidez has been criminally overlooked in this entire title talk situation. And if I'm him, I feel really, really disrespected. I don't like that. We have Damian Maia, who I have often called the knuckleballer of MMA. If he can fight, not get hit very often, and submit people, I think the man can fight into his mid to late 40s. I really think he could. Anthony Rocco Martin, I don't know if he's going to allow Damian Maia to not get hit. He came into the UFC and has just really turned a corner, Joe. This is a guy who lost his first 2 UFC fights, lost 3 out of his first 4, and since then has won 7 of 8. 7 of 8. This is a hot streak, and if he beats Damian Maia, well, you got to put him definitely got to put him higher than what he is. I mean, I don't even think the guy, is he ranked? I don't think he's ranked. Won 7 of 8, not ranked in this division. What do you see here? Do you see Anthony Rocco Martin at plus 160 pulling out over Damian Maia minus 185? Because I hate to keep like doubting Maia though, but I think Rocco Martin might be in a good position
to get choked out.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, because you take a look at the 2 records and the quality of competition. Maia's 3 losses in his last 4 fights. Well, Tyron Woodley for the title shot. Tried to take him down, just had a hard time. Couldn't do it. Lost to Colby Covington, just got outfought. lost to Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman did not allow Damian Maia to do anything relatively remotely on the ground. So he lost to at the time, the top 3 guys in the division. So 3-fight losing streak. He goes up against Lyman Good, damn good welterweight, and he submitted him in 2 minutes and 38 seconds. So Damian Maia, if he's not competing against the upper echelon of the division, remember, this is a guy that's taken out Jorge Masvidal, Carlos Condit, Matt Brown, Gunnar Nelson, Neil Magny, Ryan LaFleur. This is a guy that will put you to sleep very, very quickly, choke you out, break an arm, or do something, okay? The minute he's able to get that clinch and that trip, it's going to be, I shouldn't say it's going to be a short night, but it's going to be one of those situations that I will not be surprised. So many people count on Damian Maia all the time. But Anthony Rocco Martin is going to be in big trouble if Damian Maia gets that clinch.
Main event time. Francis Ngannou minus 250. Junior Dos Santos plus 210. This is a main event, Joe. This is the type of fight that I want to tune in and watch on a Saturday night with my friends. Junior Dos Santos, a minus 210, though. Ooh, there's some value on that, Joseph. What do you think about this one?
He's a plus 210.
Yes, a plus 210. Did I say minus?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. He's a plus 210. There's some value on that.
Yes. Now, so before we get into this breakdown, a quick question for you. When Francis Ngannou comes out and he says that Junior Dos Santos' black belt at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is questionable. What? Why? Who cares? I don't understand. What is the purpose of you saying that? Do you want Junior Dos Santos to take you down to the ground? Because he'll mollywop you on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, are you saying your jiu-jitsu is better than Junior Dos Santos? I mean,
it's confusing, and the betting line's confusing to me, Joe, because obviously Ngannou has some unbelievable strength and has just destroyed Cain Velasquez and Curtis Blades and Alistair Overeem. But what happened every time he got dragged into deep waters, Joe?
Yeah.
And I'm talking like one fight of his has went past minute 3 of round 2. One.
Yeah.
One fight. If it goes past 3 minutes in round 2, I get the feeling Junior Dos Santos is winning that fight. Putting him at a plus 210 after he has beaten consecutively Ivanov, Tuivasa, and Derek Lewis. He's won 4 of his last 5. I think that is just disrespectful to Junior Dos Santos. Hey, could Ngannou knock him out cold in 10 seconds? Yeah, you damn right he could. But I think that line is disrespectful to Dos Santos.
I'm looking at this fight and thinking to myself, I'm picking JDS. I'm picking JDS because I've lost all kinds of trust in Francis Ngannou, especially after that Derek Lewis fight. I'm also, for those that have never been to a UFC event, there's something special and different when it's the heavyweights entering the octagon, or it's MMA in general. There's something special. It's like it's a real prize fighting experience. I used to get that just the eerie feeling every time Brock Lesnar would fight the Frank Mirs and the Shane Carwins, or the heavyweight champ of the world, whomever it was defending the title. Heavyweights is just something different, and this is no doubt a main event that should be epic if you're there in person. It's going to be great watching it on television or whatever platform you're going to be using. No ifs, ands, or buts. But in terms of breaking down this fight, Ngannou, just go watch the highlight of what he did to Alistair Overeem. That should scare you enough to realize he could do that to anybody, and he could definitely do that to Junior Dos Santos. But Junior Dos Santos has experience, knows how to use his range, but the minute he gets in trouble, he gets on his bike. He's going to get on his bike. And if he gets tagged by Ngannou and his face starts swelling up, this is going to be absolutely insane. But I think with Junior Dos Santos' boxing and his jab and how he likes to use his range, if he plays smart and even, I'm not going to say he's going to make it a boring first round, but just, uses the time. He's got 25 minutes, doesn't have to end it in the first 5. I think he emerges victorious in this fight by knockout.
Going to do my UFC Minneapolis. I got 5 on it picks. These will be in the predictions videos from now on because they do trash traffic on their own. but let's go ahead and talk about it. When I look at Dos Santos at a plus 210, there's value there. My God, is there value there? I think he could win that fight, and I would definitely put 5 on it there. When I look at Marco Polo Reyes, the inconsistency of both of these guys, he and Drew Dober, that leads me to maybe put 5 on it. I think that one might be a fair, safe bet. And then anytime you have a women's fight, plus 150, Amanda Ribas, Emily Whitmire, minus 170, I'll throw 5 on it. You just never know how the skill sets will match up in that regard, especially considering women's MMA. I wouldn't say it's in its infancy, but it's crawling around right now. It's about to get up and walk and start running, and we're going to have more and more specialists start to show up